Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to the Digitally Uploaded Podcast, the companion podcast to digitallydownloaded.net. My name is Alan. I'm going to be your host this week. And with me this week, we've actually only got one other person, and it's Matt. Hello, Matt.
Hello. How you doing?
Yeah, it's good. Everything's good. We've got Red Dead Redemption just came out. Matt's really excited to play that. So, so obviously this week's been dominated for me by the idea of playing Red Dead 2, which by the time that you hear this podcast, I will be engrossed in, so that's all right. But we've got some good news really briefly coming up that the old Resident Evil games are coming to Switch, so it's continuing the trend of your console isn't real until Resident Evil 4 is on it. So, we've got RE4 coming to Switch, we've got RE0 and RE1, so I believe if you've played the HD Origins bundle, that's pretty much what we're getting, as well as 4 HD, which will be 60 FPS, hopefully on the Switch, I'd say, and will be looking gorgeous because that game looks really good when it runs well. So, yeah, it's fun games. If you haven't played RE4, it's one of the best games ever made. It's very, very fun, very good.
It's okay.
Not super. Why do you undermine me?
It's okay.
It's one of the best games ever. It is a masterpiece.
Resident Evil 4 led to Resident Evil 5 and 6, which is... Yeah.
5 is, I would argue, a really fun game too, but 6 is just... so they're coming out.
I'm a fan of the older Resident Evils, so for me, Resident Evil 1 and 0 on Switch is cool. Really cool. Really great. Very exciting, especially 0. I really love 0. 0 is my favorite. It goes a bit silly in the second half. It goes a bit silly in the second half, but that train opening is just brilliant.
Yeah, so the first hour of the game's pretty good, and the rest of it's like,
then you get into the mansion, and you're thinking, oh yeah, this is pretty cool. This is like a continuation of Resident Evil 1, which it should be, and stuff. And yeah, it goes a little bit silly after that, but yeah, for about the first half, it's I don't know, it's my favorite. It's atmospheric. It's atmospheric, Alan.
Yep.
And you get to play as Billy.
Why do you like? Okay, no, this is not allowed. No, he's trash.
Billy,
you are wrong.
Yeah, that's the whole point. That's why he's so adorable. He's trash.
No,
I love Billy.
Why don't you just play as Steve Burnside then? They made another Steve Burnside for no reason. It's terrible. All right. Anyway,
Billy was great.
Anyway, Matt, before I get mad at you more, tell me about your news for the week.
Well, my big bit of news for the week is that Billy's coming to the Nintendo Switch.
Sick. Great. Really into it, yeah.
Atelier. There's a new Atelier game that was announced, which is great because the last one wasn't even released yet. So they're really picking up their rate of releases. But it's actually for people who are fans of the Atelier series, you'll know the Arland series, which is great. That's lots of people's favorite, including mine. And this one is a sequel to the original Atelier Arland trilogy, which is something that I don't think anybody expected to happen, but it's happening, and it's great. It's really exciting.
So it's not a trilogy anymore. It's a quadrilogy.
Yes, well, yes. It's the start of a new trilogy, perhaps. It takes place a generation later. So different characters and stuff. The main character is the daughter of one of the characters of the original trilogy. So, it could be the start of a new one, which would be just perfect because, that's probably the most colorful, I think. The Arland series is, a lot of people really like it because it is really bright, really colorful, even by the Atelier series standards. So, you'd probably look at it and go, what the hell is going on? But it's...
I think you're holding... So I might be able to understand it. Might.
But it's bright. It's happy. It's good. These games are comfort food RPG, and I'm certainly looking forward to finding out more about this one. I assume it'll probably come out towards the later half of next year.
Sure. It should be all right. It's a RPG. I'm sure it'll be liked by people.
Yes.
And with that
series has a lot of kind of stuck in the kind of mud fans. So
yeah,
there'll always be a small call for it. It's niche, but it's exciting. It's going to be better than Red Dead Redemption 2. That's for sure.
You need to stop with this. All right, you can pick the music. It's going to be Miku based. What's the music?
Yes.
It's gonna be
Well, there's
Miku.
Yeah, no, it's actually written this time around because it's a song called Happy Halloween, which is perfect for when this podcast is coming out, I think.
Because it's a spook cast. Duh. And welcome back from that frightful song for two reasons. So, it's November now. Isn't that exciting? It's very, very exciting indeed. There's a bunch of games coming out, and we've got a little bit of a list here to go through some of the ones that we are personally interested in. So, Matt, would you like to sort of just go through and have a bit of a read of what we've got coming up for us?
Yeah, why not? Okay, so on the PlayStation 4, we have the new Taiko the Drum game coming out on November 2, which is going to be great. Taiko the Drum is the bestest of the bestest rhythm games. There's also a couple of packs of DLC for Valkyria Chronicles 4 coming out, which is great for people who enjoyed that, and you should. We've got World of Final Fantasy Maxima coming out later on, well, actually quite early in the month, November 6th I've got here. I think that's the American date. But anyway, it'll be about that for the West as well. Tetris Effect comes out on November 9, and Tetris Effect is going to be great. That's like a rhythm game mixed with Tetris. I believe, by the guy that made Rez. I want to say.
Yep, it is. It's what's his? Oh, it's okay. I'm not going to get his name. I'm going to also butcher.
We
it.
don't need to know his name.
But he's the Rez
guy.
Great.
The Rez guy. The Rez guy is back with Tetris, which is a really good mix. I think anybody who has any taste is looking forward to that. Let me see. There's not too much happening in the middle of the month. I know Fallout 76 is coming, and some people are excited for that. But yeah,
we should talk about that briefly though, because early reports of that game are not super positive.
Oh well,
yeah,
it's nice. It's nice to be validated sometimes. Battlefield 5 comes out on November 20. Stormboy, the game, which is a tiny game, it's not going to create waves or anything, but it is an Aussie game based on a piece of Aussie literature that is well loved by Aussies.
Oh, so I thought you said Steam Boy, like the classic animated movie, and I was getting really excited about that because that sounds rad. But what do you do in Storm Boy? Do you just play as a pelican?
I think it's like a casual kind of lots of mini games or something or other. It'll be simple. It'll be simple. But it's it's going to be very Aussie. And it's nice to see Aussie developers taking our literature and turning it into a video game, because I think that might be the first time that's happened. Who knows? It might lead to a Tomorrow When the War Began game down the track.
I would love actually a survival game about Tomorrow When the War Began. That'd be cool.
It would indeed. And then rounding out the month for PlayStation 4 is Darksiders 3, which comes out on November 27, and Darksiders is very good. So it'll be interesting to see now that it's got a different publisher. It's with THQ Nordic rather than THQ. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. I hope so. I hope it goes well. Looking at quickly at the Switch, Transistor comes out on November 1. If you haven't played Transistor before, you really should. This is by the
great game.
It is a very great game. A very, very great game. I have no idea what Kitty Love Way to Look for Love is, but I am intrigued. That comes out on November 1.
I love that on your list of games that we have, you've decided to put Kitty Love.
Well, the Nintendo Switch is the dumping ground for all kinds of weird stuff these days. So
understandable.
I want to believe it's going to be interesting. There's also Taiko the Drum coming out on Switch, which is actually a different version than the PS4 version, different songs and stuff. So
Drum and Fun.
Both.
I love that it's called Drum and Fun. That's great.
Yeah. Diablo 3, which is probably the better Diablo game out there.
Oh, I'm angry.
Yeah, Titan Quest is better. But anyway, it comes out on November 2. Carnival Games comes out on November 6. World of Final Fantasy Maxima is also coming out on the Switch. It is a slower month because it's November, let's forget. Battlezone Gold Edition comes out on Switch on November 8, and that's pretty cool. I enjoyed the VR one.
That's the tank game, right?
Yeah, but it's the kind of the remaster or reboot of one of the very first-person shooters ever made. So it's all kind of wireframe graphics and stuff, and neon, lots of neon. It's very 80s. I was born in the 80s, so I'm allowed to like neon. What else have we got? What else have we got?
Pokemon.
Pokemon comes out towards the end of the month. Oh, no, in the middle,
16th.
November 16. And everybody's going to get the Eevee version because Pikachu's
they're right. Yeah,
he's not cute anymore. Eevee's the cute. Sid Meier's Civilization 6 comes out on Switch on November 16, and I am so keen for that.
That's going to destroy my life.
Yeah, I do love me some strategy game, and having it on the go is great. And then we run out the month with Cattails, which
there's a lot of cat-based games this month. It's too many cat games.
Cat plus Tails. Yeah, I don't know. It could be good. I mean, any game could be good in theory.
I appreciate your optimism. Yeah, I love that you're going into this with such an open mind, as opposed to something like Red Dead, where you're like, nah.
And Warframe comes out on the Switch on November 20, and
that game is fantastic.
If you talk to most people, including apparently Alan, Warframe is up there with the best free-to-play games that have been produced. So, yeah.
So,
yeah,
you've missed a couple of things here, Matt, and I'm going to go over.
Have I?
You have indeed.
Oh no,
it's Hitman 2. No. It's the Hitman 2 month.
Oh, the Sean Bean game. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised you forgot that one because it looks really good. That game looks fantastic. And if you played the original season 1 of Hitman, like it's very good fun. And it's a very unabashedly 2006 era game. Like it just feels like a 2006 game on a PS2, but with the graphics of modern day. So it should be good. It should be really, really good fun. And we've also got the Spyro trilogy coming out on the same day.
I didn't forget that. I just didn't mention it.
Oh. All right. Well, Matt hates fun apparently, so that's all right. We've also got Wreckfest as well. Now, Wreckfest is made by the guys who made Flatout, and it's based around. Yeah. So, if anyone's ever played the old Toka racing games or the V8 Supercars games on PS2 and Xbox original, I can't say Xbox One because it doesn't make any sense now. If you ever played those sorts of games, this game is a lot like that. Really, really interesting destruction model for the cars. Really, really fun driving. It's been out on PC for about 2 months or so right now, but it's really, really good fun. That's coming out on the 20th. So if you're interested in sort of, aggressive racing games, then that's probably the one for you. And that's on PS4 and Xbox One. I think that pretty much covers the month. We've also got, I believe, Persona Q2 potentially coming out late November, but I'm not very sure.
I haven't heard anything about that. But that might be because I have my list here, and it's the PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch. Let me just check.
This is a 3DS game, so yeah.
Yeah, let me just check the 3DS list because that would be weird. There'd be like one game on it, but let's see, shall we?
It's one 3DS game coming out this month.
If it is, then that's actually the one I'm looking forward to the most because I loved Persona Q, like with an absolute passion. That game is amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I'm so keen for this if it is actually happening.
Yep, the 29th in Japan.
In Japan. You got me all excited for nothing, Alan. I'm so cranky at you now. Well, what are you looking forward to the most if you had to pick one game, Alan, that you can play?
Oh, definitely not Fallout 76. Definitely not that anymore. Yeah, so you know what? Civilization is probably the one that I'm the most excited for in terms of I need a game for my Switch because I've pretty much sold everything on my Switch except for Mario Kart. Just because I don't know, I don't play it as much as I feel like I should. So I need a game like Civ to just consume the entire battery cycle of that console for me. I also know that I like Civ already. Like I spend a lot of time in Civ. It's too much, and this might be the end of my life, and that's okay. So,
yeah, I think Civ's probably going to be the one I end up playing the most this month because it's just one of those games that just never stops giving.
Yeah,
and I like strategy games on the Switch. Realpolitik, which came out a couple of months ago, it's not anywhere near in the same league as Civ, but I still ended up spending like 80 or 90 hours playing it because, yeah, it's just good to have, I don't know, for me, it's good to have that kind of really serious hardcore strategy game sitting there on my Switch when I'm on the train or something.
Yeah, it's a good time.
I like it. But in terms of the ones that I'm looking forward to the most, I got to say, I can't wait to play World of Final Fantasy again. I'm really looking forward to that on my Switch.
I might do that on my Switch, yeah. It seems like a game that would be suited for it.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to that. I love the art style of World of Final Fantasy. It's just so cute and so bright and so charming. And so the whole game's such a love letter to Final Fantasy fans, especially those from kind of way back. And yeah, I think after Final Fantasy 15 soured some people on the whole franchise, it'd be nice to...
Everyone liked 15, didn't they?
No, not... I love 15, but the hardcore fans, the ones that write stuff like, if you haven't played this game, you're not a real gamer. Those kinds of really hardcore. Those kinds of really hardcore gamers.
More shade at the entirety of Red Dead, please.
I'm never gonna. That review is just a classic piece of writing. But anyway, EGM. Have a look at EGM's review of Red Dead Redemption 2. It's very post. Yeah, it's a very good work of art. But yeah. Final Fantasy 15 put a lot of people off who were kind of stuck in the mud fans of the traditional Final Fantasy as such. And I don't know, World of Final Fantasy kind of feels like what Final Fantasy 15 should have been for those particular people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and when's Dragon Quest XI releasing on Switch? Because I know
Not till I don't think they've put a timeline on that because I think they're having issues with it.
oh, great.
And everyone knows when Square Enix has issues with something, that generally means somewhere 6 or 7 years down the track it'll finally get released.
Yeah, and on one cartridge they sell to the entire world, and everyone has to fight for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But speaking of Square Enix, one game that is coming out this week, I believe, it might not quite be in November, but what the hell, we'll talk about it anyway. Kingdom Hearts, everything in one disc package. So if you, for whatever reason, haven't played one of the Kingdom Hearts games, and I know it can be difficult to have played them all because they're all on wildly different platforms and stuff. This package brings them all together into one, so every single game up to Kingdom Hearts 3 is on it. So there's your chance to play them and get your head around the narrative before Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out.
I do want to say really quickly, as someone who's just replayed 1, 2, Chain of Memories to like halfway because, oh god, don't play Chain of Memories, and Birth by Sleep, I think. Yeah, Birth by Sleep. The story isn't that hard. You just follow the order that the games were released in, and you should be okay. Which I believe is what the setup for the menu is in the new package.
Well,
because
that's
otherwise, you're going to be really, really confused. Otherwise,
yeah, that's the thing. You're meant to have played them all in the order they were released, but nobody actually did that, Alan. That's the problem.
Yeah, because it's impossible. It's physically impossible because when you have a game named 358 over 2 days, like, what does that mean? And I know what it means, and it's still stupid.
Well, the other thing that always got me was like, even the like super niche Kingdom Hearts games that were released have plot in them, which is absolutely critical to the entire continuing. So like the mobile game or the GBA game, the GBA one that was released. Like super. Yeah. You actually have to play this to make sense of what comes afterwards, and nobody did. Just.
I did, Matt. I did. And it sucked.
So, if you're planning on playing Kingdom Hearts 3, and it is a good-looking game that's been coming for about 10 years, so you probably should. You do need to play this pack. You do need to buy this pack and play every single game on it.
Like, you won't necessarily need to, because, to be honest, if you are not going to be interested in the story of Kingdom Hearts because it's dumb as hell, then that's fine. But, like... Like, if you're like me and played the games as a child and were like, wow, that's pretty cool, go back and try and play them because they are very fun games, even if the story makes me want to throw up a lot. Yeah, there are parts in those games that don't work very well anymore, but that's all right. So
I'll never understand. All I wanted from Kingdom Hearts way back when it was first announced, the very first one, and I got very excited about it because it was like Square Enix plus Disney. I was like, yes, this is great. An RPG, it's like Final Fantasy with Donald Duck, and I never got that.
Final Duck.
I just wanted Final Duck, and I never quite got it, which has always disappointed me. But anyway, a lot of people like these games. So on that note, we'll go to some music from Kingdom Hearts, I guess.
Yeah, some good music.
Yeah, it's got good music. So Alan can pick a track, and we'll come back. And there you go. And we'll come back and we'll talk about Halloween.
It's a spooky time. That was the worst intro I think I've ever done.
That was really good, Alan. I'm really impressed by it.
Alrighty. High effort, high stakes gameplay. If you don't know how to intro a podcast, you're not a real gamer. It's Halloween, as you probably will be aware, because it's Halloween. And generally, like, games come out in Halloween and they do these things where you get spooked by them and then you have a good time with them. So I think we're going to talk about some Halloween-based games. Matt, tell us about Halloween. Tell us
Halloween
about it.
Halloween is good. Yeah, like you said, a lot of horror games come out around Halloween, I guess, because they try and tap into the seasonal spirit and stuff, and people like to be scared on Halloween or some nonsense like that. I don't know about you, but this year it's relatively quiet in terms of the Halloween releases. I think it's because they haven't got a kind of blockbuster one like Evil Within or anything like that coming out this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that last year Halloween, really?
Or was it the year before? It was a Halloween game, wasn't it? They tried to push it at Halloween.
It's possible. I remember it coming out at some point. I also remember that game is really good too. I got really cheap. It's fantastic. Yeah, buy that game. No, don't even buy the other horror games. Just go buy Evil Within 2. It's really fun.
Yeah. Well, the one, I guess, the biggest kind of profile one that's been released this year is Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
That comes out for Halloween. But I don't know. It's not really a Halloween game to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, let's go. All right. Go in for it, Matt. Do it.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just Halloween is a distinctive kind of style. Like, it's ghosts and witches and stuff, that kind of ties into the American holiday or event that it's kind of become. But not every single horror game kind of fits with that, if that makes sense. Like, Call of Cthulhu isn't really ghosts and stuff. It's kind of cosmic horror. It's people going crazy, and it's got a very distinctive tone, which is different. So I've been playing through Call of Cthulhu. I think I can talk about it by the time this podcast comes out. Embargo's left, I think.
Make a note.
Otherwise, I'm in trouble. But I've been playing through it, and it's actually really good, really enjoyable. And it does a really good job of actually capturing the Cthulhu thing, where it's not just about shooting monsters and all that kind of stuff, which isn't really what Lovecraft had in mind when he was coming up with his idea for horror. But yeah, it doesn't feel like a Halloween game as such. For me, the kind of probably the best Halloween game that I've played that came out at Halloween and was designed to be like a game for the season is the Costume Quest games, which aren't really horror.
They're pretty cute,
but they tap into the trick or treating and the goblins and all of that kind of stuff. The kind of the B grade, the B grade magic and all that kind of stuff. It's great. I love them. I love them.
That in your mind, Halloween is about trick or treat and goblins. It's nothing else.
Well, that is what Halloween. No, Halloween is ghosts and spirits, but it's about goblins.
It's such a weird thing to focus. I would have said ghosts personally, or like
I did. I said ghosts and goblins, ghosts and witches and goblins. That's what I said.
All right,
that's what I said.
Sorry, I'll back down.
But yeah, that's for me. That's what a Halloween game kind of is. It's not so much just about horror for the sake of horror. So yeah, stuff like Resident Evil or Evil Within don't really fit as Halloween games for me. Something like Fatal Frame does. I think the last Fatal Frame game that came out on the Wii U came out at Halloween time as well, I think. And it worked. It certainly worked. I mean, it was very Japanese, obviously, but it was exactly what I kind of want from a Halloween specific experience. Or slashers, of course, because the Halloween, the Halloween movie kind of made the slasher release at Halloween a tradition as well. So Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, any of those kind of movies or games based on those movies is a good time to come. It's a good time to put them out now.
It's a good opportunity to talk about the Halloween movie very, very briefly before we talk about anything else.
How good does it look?
It's fantastic.
Have you seen it?
Isn't it? Yeah, I've seen like the preview stuff, And like everything that I've seen about it seems to like tell me that it's like a 10 out of 10 movie.
Yeah, everything I've read about it says that it's like the best Halloween movie since the original Halloween, which is
It's not hard to do.
oh come on, H2O was really good.
What are you talking about?
H2O was really good. I'm a big Halloween fan. Michael Myers is my hero. And yeah, H2O I was a big fan of. I liked which one was it, 4 or 5 as well? I'm trying to think.
Are you thinking of like the Pumpkin Witch Curse one? Because that was bad.
No, not the Tom Selleck one. Jesus, no, that was a different thing entirely. That wasn't even really Halloween. No, I can't remember which of them. 4 or 5 I really, really, really enjoyed and watched like a dozen times as well. Anyway, I didn't actually mind the Rob Zombie.
I was going to say the Rob Zombie ones are actually better than they had any right to be. Like they were decent films.
I was surprisingly, especially the first one, I was quite impressed with it. So if this one's an actual improvement on all of that, then I'm really excited for it. So
I just love Laurie. I forget her last name. The actress. I love her so much. She's so cool. I want her to be my grandma.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't know why I thought Laurie as in like this. You know,
Laurie Strode.
Yeah, you know, the actress. She's actually my grandma. I've decided.
Yeah, she's great. She's been really good.
So cool.
she's really good.
Yeah. Anyway, back on topic. Go see that movie if you haven't yet and you want to spook.
And yeah, actually, kind of related to that, I'm actually going to play the Friday the 13th game.
It's really cool. It's a decent game.
I downloaded it because it was a PS Plus thing, and it's been sitting there on my hard drive, and I haven't really had the time to look into it. Just got back from Japan and all that stuff. But I'm going to put aside some time and play it over Halloween. And
we should actually play it together.
Yeah, let's do
that. Easy.
Because for listeners who haven't been following along with it, Friday the 13th is an actual attempt to do the Friday the 13th in game form, where one person plays as Jason. And the other 4, is it 4 other players?
I think it's 5.
4 or 5, however many. They all play as the dumb teenagers who need to avoid getting killed. And then it's just a kind of stalker horror thing where Jason is trying to kill them and they're trying to not be killed. So it kind of fits with the movies. If it works, I hope it works. I've heard it works.
It's fine. Yeah, it's a very Dead by Daylight game, which is unfortunate because it was announced before Dead by Daylight, and Dead by Daylight was very clearly a panic game. Made it the last thing, being like, shit, people like this. Let's make it. Let's make it now. Do it right now. Yeah, that game's fun. On that topic as well, Until Dawn. So I just finished Until Dawn with friends again, and that is a fantastic horror game in that it is very slasher movie-esque. It also made me very angry because some of the QuickTime events are just busted, and trying to save people from the don't move is bullshit. I'm still really mad that my favorite character died because of what don't move things, and it's just like, all right, well, that's the end of my entire interest in this game ever again, but that's fine.
I was just really disappointed with the reveal of that one, without doing spoilers for people who haven't played
it. The reveal of the thing. Yeah,
that was really disappointing because they did such a good job of building it up and getting me intrigued and making it like it looked like it was going to be something really original and fresh and interesting, and then they go and do that, and I was like, oh, fuck off. They ruined it. But
other than I've ever heard.
until that point, I was a huge fan. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that dev's next one because the next
Man of Medan.
Yeah. That's going to be great. I think.
Yeah.
Same thing, but set on a boat, basically, which is cool.
I love boat.
Oh, and actually, it's not a release, but it was announced this week, I guess, to tie into the whole spirit of the thing as well. Layers of Fear 2 is coming.
Yeah, that game, the first,
which is
bad,
great.
I'm looking forward to it because I laugh at it.
Bad. It was great. It was really good. I thought it was actually a really good standout example of how to do horror. Actually,
I got
without relying on action and monsters and stuff.
I found it really goofy.
Simulator.
It's goofy. Like when there's a part where you can watch a doll just face plant into a wall just on repeat because they didn't fix one of the trigger zones for that animation. so you can just walk backwards and forwards and just watch this young, like, child-sized doll just like sprint full on into a wall, and it's my favorite thing. It's one of the best parts of that game. It ruins the game's tone, and like the game does pretty well most of the time. But yeah, oh, it's very hard game for me to recommend to a lot of people. But on a similar train of thought, though, Alien Isolation, best horror game ever made, because I don't ever want to play it ever again. It's really
Actually,
good.
That's one of those rare cases we kind of agree, Alan. I actually really liked Alien Isolation as well.
Oh, we have found one thing.
Yeah, we actually agree on something. No, that was a really good game. I'm a huge fan of all the horror genres out there. Kind of stalker horror is my favorite, I think.
Because it's horrifying.
I kind of like not being able to fight back, if that makes sense. Because to me, once you start getting weapons and stuff, you start feeling more empowered, and empowerment doesn't gel with my idea of what horror should be. So
the end of Resident Evil 7 does not work because of that.
Well, the entire Resident Evil series doesn't really fit with my idea of horror. It's more, those are kind of more B grade kind of zombie action games. And they're fine for that. I'm not criticizing them. I'm just saying, like, in terms of actual horror, if I'm playing a horror game, I want to feel disempowered, and stalker horror, of course, does that really well. So Alien Isolation did a really good job of that, especially since the whole stalker horror genre's kind of died away a bit.
Yeah.
On the PS2, there was like one coming out every week. Most of them were from Capcom. There was like Haunting Ground, Rule of Rose, Haunting Ground, Clock Tower 3. They all just kept coming out. Gregory Horror Show was kind of stalker horror as well. So, they all came out quite close to one another, and I was like, yeah, this is great. This is when Capcom was at its best, and that's all faded away. So Alien Isolation kind of brought it back, which was good.
Yeah. I was very happy with that. Through with some friends as well right now, and it's a game that I can only play for about an hour max in a single go, because I get like just so anxious. And it's also like we're at the point in the game now where there's a lot of humans and there's a lot of not bishops and there's a lot of alien, and watching that dynamic change in that situation is really, really interesting. So if you are interested in that game, you can get it for like $20 most of the time now with all the DLC. So
yeah, it's pretty cheap. Speaking of, there is one stalker horror game that's kind of come out recently, which I should recommend at this point, and it's called Home Sweet Home. When I started to play it, I thought it was pretty crappy, kind of indie, bad attempt at horror. But the more you play it, the more you kind of get really stuck into it. It's actually based in Thai horror storytelling. So a lot of the stuff that you encounter will seem a bit unfamiliar and whatever. But yeah, it's quite short. It's only a couple of hours long, and it's really, I was impressed with it. It turned me around. I thought it was going to be crap when I started. But within about an hour, I was like, oh yeah, this is actually quite good.
Oh, I love the positivity.
It doesn't start well. It does not start well. It starts like every crappy B grade, as in not good quality horror game that you've ever played. But yeah, it does turn itself around once it gets into the storytelling, and once it starts making the mysteries, or starts to reveal the mysteries, or starts to get you kind of involved with it. It's really good.
Okay.
And finally, my recommendation, it's an older game now, but it's kind of the one I think that stood out to me this generation as my favorites, and it's called White Day.
Oh, no. Oh,
I love White Day. Why?
It doesn't work.
Why, Alan? I love White Day.
It's not scary. It's a spooky man with a broom. He's going to sweep you away.
Oh, Alan. I love White Day. No, it's good. It's charming. It's quaint. It's my kind of game. It's very.
Wait, is it horror?
It's great. So for people who haven't heard of White Day, it's a Korean horror game from way back. Actually, it's quite an old one. They've recently done the PS4 version, and the new PC version is a remaster of sorts. It's not a great quality remaster. It still looks its age, I guess. But yeah, it's another stalker horror game where you can't really fight back. Your job is to kind of stay out of the way of this dude with a broom. He's the janitor. He's not a very pleasant guy. And solve some puzzles while ghostly things are going on around you. And yeah, it's very Korean.
It's also bad.
It's not, Alan. I take back what I said about Alien Isolation. It sucks.
Okay, well, you're still wrong. This is wrong. That's fine.
It sucks. I'm going to pick the music. I'm going to pick music from White Day now just to piss you off.
I don't know if there is any. It's just a man
It's like
hardly.
There's the opening track, so that's it. White Day music. We'll be back soon. We're back. Sorry to say this, but we actually have some technical issues which has stopped us recording a third part of the podcast. Very unfortunately, I wanted to talk about all kinds of stuff. We had this big plan to talk more about horror games and stuff. I did want to quickly mention, I forgot in the last section, Yomawari. If you haven't played Yomawari before, I highly recommend Yomawari because it is really, 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 really good. It's on the Nintendo Switch as a double pack now, and those games are great little stalker horror games, as we were talking about in the previous section. But unfortunately, I'm probably not going to be able to talk about much more because of these technical issues. But I hope you enjoyed the podcast across the two sections that we had. And thank you very much for listening in. We will see you at the next podcast, and have a good week. Thank you very much.